Did you know that only 3% of people discover the secret that makes the universe literally conspire in their favor? Carl Jung spent countless hours studying cases of individuals who seemed to live in a completely different reality, where synchronicities multiplied, where opportunities arose as if by magic, where life flowed with almost supernatural precision. And after decades of research, he discovered that all these people were doing one single thing that others completely ignored. If you're watching this video now, it may be that your soul already recognizes this truth before your conscious mind even grasps it. Because there's a fundamental difference between those who live fighting against the current of life and those who've discovered how to align themselves with the cosmic flow that governs all things. And this difference isn't luck, privileged birth, or destiny. It's knowledge. It's technique. It's a single practice that completely transforms how the universe responds to your presence. Today I'm going to reveal to you this one thing that makes all the difference. But brace yourself, because this isn't some superficial manifestation technique or positive thinking. This is a principle that operates in the deepest layers of reality, where your individual consciousness meets universal cosmic intelligence. And when you master this practice, you no longer need to struggle for the life you desire. It naturally organizes itself around you. So watch until the end, because today might be the day you finally understand why some people live in abundance and synchronicity, while others remain trapped in cycles of effort and frustration. And if you recognize yourself in what I'm about to share, know that you didn't arrive here by chance. Your soul already knows what your mind is about to discover. When Jung broke with Freud and was rejected by the scientific community, he plunged into a period he himself described as a descent into personal hell. But it was precisely during this time that he discovered something revolutionary about how the whole universe actually works. The universe doesn't need to be convinced of anything. It already knows exactly what you need and when you need it. But it can only act favorably when you stop interfering with the natural process of manifestation. To understand the secret Jung discovered, we must first grasp how the relationship between your consciousness and the universal energy field actually works. Most people believe there's a clear separation between the inner and outer world, between thought and reality, between desire and manifestation. But Jung knew this separation is an illusion created by the conscious mind to bring order to the apparent chaos of existence. The truth is, you're not separate from the universe. You're a conscious extension of the same intelligence that moves the stars, regulates the seasons, makes your heart beat without you having to think about it. And just as a single cell can influence the entire body when it sends the right signals, your individual consciousness can influence the entire cosmic network when it operates on the proper frequency. But here's the rub. Most of humanity lives in a state of unconscious resistance. They say they want one thing but emanate emotional energy that contradicts that desire. They claim they deserve abundance but carry deep beliefs of scarcity. They declare they're ready for love but radiate frequencies of fear and mistrust. And the universe, being a perfect mirror, reflects back exactly this internal contradiction. What Jung discovered is that there's one single thing that dissolves this resistance and automatically aligns your internal frequency with your conscious desires. It's not visualization. It's not repeating affirmations. It's not ritual or ceremony. It's something far more subtle, and at the same time, far more powerful. This one thing is radical acceptance of what is. It sounds simple, but this simplicity conceals a profound complexity that few manage to master. Because radically accepting what is doesn't mean passive resignation or conformity. It means stopping the waste of energy fighting against present reality and redirecting that energy toward conscious creation of the future you desire. You've probably heard the idea that our thoughts and feelings create our reality. This concept has been gaining tremendous traction, and for many, the image that comes to mind is that of a vortex, a place or state of energy where everything we desire already exists, waiting for us to tune into it. Picture it like a whirlpool of good things, and when we feel good, we step into it, and everything begins to flow. This is a powerful way to view manifestation, and there's tremendous truth in it. But what Carl Jung offers us is a fresh and surprising perspective for understanding how we truly align ourselves with this flow of abundance. Rather than focusing solely on getting into the vortex through constant elevation of our energy, for Jung, the key to having the universe conspire in your favor isn't forcing a high vibration, but rather eliminating the resistance that prevents you from already being in the flow. Think about it this way. If you have a boat tied down by multiple ropes, the problem isn't the lack of wind. The problem is the ropes holding it back. Radical acceptance is the art of releasing those ropes. These ropes are our daily resistances. The internal battle with what's already happened in your life, the frustration of not being who you think you should be right now, the relentless attempt to change the people around you, the constant judgment of circumstances as good or bad, the obsession with controlling every step of the future. When you practice radical acceptance, you're not saying, fine, if things stay this way forever. Far from it. You're saying, I accept reality as it presents itself in this exact moment, without struggle, without resistance, without judgment. And in doing so, you release an immense amount of energy that was previously trapped in this internal battle. It's this liberation, this sense of letting go, that creates the space for the universe to respond in an almost magical way. Opportunities arise, synchronicities multiply, and life begins to flow with an ease that previously seemed unattainable. You don't need to enter some external place. You remove the internal blocks that were preventing you from perceiving that you're already connected to all the abundance that exists. In essence, while some teachings focus on building a balloon of positive energy to float, radical acceptance focuses on cutting the anchors that keep you grounded. It's this complete acceptance, without judgment, without resistance, without needing it to be different for you to feel good. Something extraordinary happens. You stop broadcasting the frequency of lack that keeps you stuck in the same patterns. You stop telling the universe, my life isn't good enough, I need something different to be happy. Instead, you begin radiating, I am complete as I am. And from this completeness, I choose to create something even more beautiful. This frequency shift is detected instantly by the cosmic field. And that's when synchronicities begin. That's when opportunities multiply. That's when you enter the flow of life instead of swimming against it. But mastering radical acceptance doesn't happen overnight. It's a process that unfolds through 7 distinct levels of consciousness, and each level unlocks a different type of manifestation power. If you can recognize which level you're at now, you can significantly accelerate your evolution and begin seeing concrete changes in your external reality. The first level is acceptance of your personal history. Most people carry wounds from the past like badges of suffering. They tell and retell their stories of pain, betrayal, abandonment, as if these narratives define who they are. But every time you relive a painful story with emotion, you reactivate that frequency in the present and instruct the universe to create more similar situations. Jung said we cannot change what happened, but we can completely transform the meaning we give to past events. When you radically accept your history, not as something terrible that victimized you, but as necessary experiences that shaped the wisdom you possess today, you release an enormous amount of energy that was trapped in resistance to the past. People who master this first level begin speaking about their difficult experiences with emotional neutrality. They can talk about challenges they faced without dramatizing, without seeking sympathy, without identifying as victims. They've transformed their wounds into wisdom, their scars into strength, their falls into stepping stones. And the universe responds by creating situations where this hard-won wisdom can be applied constructively. You know you've mastered this level when you can talk about any event from your past, even the most painful ones, without feeling emotional contraction, without needing to justify or blame. Your history becomes just that, history. No longer an emotional prison determining your future patterns. When this happens, people around you begin noticing something different about you. A lightness, a presence, an ability to be present without carrying the weight of old dramas. And naturally, you begin attracting relationships and opportunities that reflect this new frequency of integrity and emotional maturity. The second level is acceptance of your current limitations. This is perhaps the most challenging for ambitious people, because it goes against everything society teaches about personal development. We're constantly bombarded with messages saying, you can be anything you want, don't accept limitations, break through your barriers. But Jung understood that true freedom comes from honestly recognizing where you are right now, without fantasies or self-deception. Accepting your current limitations doesn't mean giving up on growth. It means stopping the waste of energy on grandiose fantasies that have no basis in present reality. It means recognizing your real talents, your available resources, your current capacity for sustainability, without ego inflation or self-deprecation. When you accept where you are now, you stop living in some hypothetical future and start working with the materials you actually possess. And paradoxically, it's precisely this acceptance of present reality that accelerates your real growth. Because you stop wasting energy comparing yourself to others, judging yourself for not being further along, getting frustrated that you haven't yet arrived where you want to go. People who master this level develop an extraordinary capacity to build on solid foundations. They don't skip steps. They don't try to manifest things they don't have the internal structure for. They grow organically, step by step. And that's why their achievements are lasting and sustainable. The universe responds to this honesty by sending exactly the opportunities you can handle at your current level of development. Instead of dreaming about fantastical opportunities that would require a version of you that doesn't yet exist, you begin receiving realistic invitations that can take you to the next rung of your evolution. You recognize you've mastered this level when you stop feeling frustrated about not yet having what you want, and start feeling grateful for what you've already built. When you stop envying others' success and start studying the paths other people have walked. When you replace anxious rushing with strategic patience. The third level is acceptance of others as they are, not as you'd like them to be. This is the level where many relationships either transform or end, because it requires you to completely abandon the fantasy that you can change someone through your love, your patience, or your arguments. Jung observed that we constantly project unintegrated aspects of our own psyche onto others. When we get irritated by someone's behavior, we're frequently reacting to something in ourselves that we don't want to see. When we try to save or fix other people, we're often running from the work of transforming ourselves. Accepting others as they are releases an impressive amount of energy that was being wasted on futile attempts at control. You stop trying to convince, prove points, educate those who didn't ask to be educated. You stop suffering over decisions other people make. You stop feeling responsible for the growth or happiness of functional adults. This acceptance doesn't mean tolerating abuse or disrespect. It means clearly recognizing who each person is, accepting that reality, and then consciously choosing how you want to relate to that person from that clarity. Some people you'll choose to keep close. Others you'll maintain at a distance. Some you'll love from afar. Others you'll simply respect without creating deep bonds. When you master this level, your relationships become much more harmonious because you stop creating unrealistic expectations. You stop being disappointed because someone acted exactly the way they always act. You stop trying to fit people into roles they don't want or can't play. The universe responds by sending relationships more compatible with who you really are, because you stop broadcasting the frequency of neediness that attracts people who need to be fixed. You begin attracting people who are already doing their own inner work, who can relate to you as equals without toxic emotional dependencies. The fourth level is acceptance of external circumstances as they present themselves, without the compulsive need to label everything as good or bad. This level requires a spiritual maturity that few develop, because our minds are constantly judging, categorizing, resisting what we don't like, and clinging to what we prefer. Jung understood that life operates through complementary polarities. There's no growth without challenge, no joy without contrast with denser moments, no wisdom without the experience of having to choose between different paths. When you accept that life naturally includes experiences of all kinds, you stop wasting energy trying to create a unilaterally pleasant reality. This acceptance isn't passivity. It's a form of emotional intelligence that allows you to respond to situations with strategic clarity instead of reacting based on personal preferences. When something challenging happens, you don't waste time and energy railing against the situation. You quickly accept what is, and then ask, given this reality, what's my wisest response? People who master this level develop an almost supernatural ability to navigate crises with serenity. They don't deny difficulties, don't pretend everything's fine when it's not. But they also don't allow themselves to be dominated by dramatization or victimization. They remain centered in the midst of chaos. And that's why they can see opportunities and solutions that other people, caught up in emotional reactivity, cannot perceive. The universe responds to this emotional stability by sending fewer and fewer chaotic situations, because you develop the ability to solve problems before they become crises. You become someone people trust to make important decisions. Leadership opportunities arise naturally, because others recognize your ability to maintain clarity, even under pressure. You know you've mastered this level when you stop using expressions like, "It's not fair," "It shouldn't be this way," "Why me?" When you replace these reactions with more useful questions like, "What can I learn? How can I grow through this? What's the hidden opportunity in this situation?" The fifth level is acceptance of your impulses and emotions without identifying with them. This is the level where you develop what Jung called the transcendent function, the ability to observe your own internal processes without being dominated by them. Most people oscillate between suppressing uncomfortable emotions and being completely overwhelmed by them. But there's a third way: feeling everything fully while maintaining conscious presence. Accepting your impulses and emotions means recognizing that you're larger than any temporary emotional state. When you feel anger, you are not the anger. You're the consciousness experiencing anger. When you feel fear, you are not the fear. You're the observer, recognizing the presence of fear in your field of perception. This distinction is revolutionary because it gives you the power of choice over how you respond to your own internal states. Instead of being swept away by the first emotion that arises, you can pause, observe, feel fully without reacting impulsively. You can recognize that every emotion carries valuable information, but not every piece of information needs to be transformed into immediate action. When you master this level, you develop an emotional stability that's independent of external circumstances. You can feel sadness without becoming a sad person. You can feel anxiety without identifying as an anxious person. You can experience moments of insecurity without constructing an entire identity based on insecurity. The universe responds to this internal stability with situations that require less and less external emotional regulation. You stop attracting drama because you're no longer someone who needs drama to feel alive. You stop getting involved in unnecessary conflicts because you've developed internal resources to process frustrations without needing to dump them on others. People operating at this level radiate a special magnetic quality. Others feel calmer in their presence. They feel safe being authentic because they sense you won't overreact to their emotional states. You become a safe harbor in an emotionally turbulent world. The sixth level is acceptance of life's natural flow, including its rhythms of expansion and contraction, growth and rest, achievement and loss. This level requires a deep understanding that life operates in cycles, not straight ascending lines. Nature teaches us this constantly. Seasons that alternate, tides that rise and fall, plants that grow and then go dormant. But our culture conditions us to expect constant growth, linear progress, uninterrupted ascension. And when we face natural periods of contraction, moments of less energy, phases of apparent stagnation, cycles of loss, we interpret this as failure or regression. This misinterpretation generates resistance, and resistance blocks life's natural flow. Accepting the natural flow means recognizing there are times to plant and times to harvest, times to act and times to integrate, times to expand and times to consolidate what's been achieved. When you align your actions with these natural rhythms, instead of forcing artificial constancy, you develop extraordinary efficiency. People who master this level stop forcing themselves to produce when they're in phases of internal integration. They stop feeling guilty for needing periods of withdrawal. They recognize that these apparently unproductive phases are actually moments of deep reorganization that precede significant qualitative leaps. The universe responds to this alignment with natural cycles by providing perfectly synchronized opportunities. You stop missing opportunities because you're in resistance to your own rhythm. You stop forcing openings that haven't yet come. You develop an almost intuitive timing for knowing when to act and when to wait. This attunement to natural flow manifests in very practical ways. You know when it's the right moment for difficult conversations, when it's time to make important decisions, when it's better to postpone projects, and when it's time to dive in completely. You become someone who flows with life instead of swimming against it. The seventh and final level is radical acceptance of uncertainty as the only real certainty of existence. This is the most advanced level of acceptance because it requires you to completely abandon the illusion of control that the ego uses to feel safe. Most people waste an enormous amount of energy trying to predict, plan, control variables that are completely beyond their reach. Jung observed that the compulsive need for certainty is a defense against the existential anxiety of recognizing that we're finite beings in an infinite universe. But when you deeply accept that uncertainty isn't a problem to be solved, but rather the natural condition of conscious existence, you access a type of freedom that few experience. Accepting uncertainty doesn't mean living without planning or strategy. It means planning without obsessive attachment to outcomes. It means doing your part with excellence and then releasing control over how the universe will respond. It means living with the curiosity of a child who doesn't know exactly what will happen tomorrow but trusts it will be interesting. When you master this final level, you develop what mystics call active detachment. You act in the world with total engagement but without the anxiety that comes from attachment to specific results. You make plans but remain flexible enough to adapt when life presents possibilities you never imagined. The universe responds to this quality of detached presence with synchronicities that seem almost magical. Doors open that you didn't even know existed. People appear in your life exactly when you need them. Solutions emerge from completely unexpected directions. You enter what Taoists call Wu Wei, effortless action, where you do exactly what needs to be done, when it needs to be done, without force, without struggle, without resistance. This is the level where you become truly magnetic. Not because you're trying to attract something, but because you've become a field of pure presence that naturally aligns reality around you. You no longer need to manifest. You've become a conscious manifesting force. People operating at this level radiate a quality that others can't define but feel immediately. It's a blend of serenity and vitality, confidence and humility, determination and flexibility. They've become what Jung called individuated people. Human beings who have completely integrated their light and shadow, who live from their authentic center, who contribute to the world not through what they do, but through who they are. If you've recognized where you stand now in these 7 levels, you've already taken the first step toward accelerating your evolution. Because acceptance begins with honest recognition of present reality. And paradoxically, it's this total acceptance of what is that creates the space for the new to emerge. The universe isn't waiting for you to be perfect to start working in your favor. It's waiting for you to be real, to stop pretending to be more advanced than you are, to stop resisting the natural process of growth, to accept where you are right now as the perfect place to begin. When you practice radical acceptance at any of these levels, you send a clear signal to the cosmic field. I am present. I am here. I accept reality as it is, and from this acceptance, I consciously choose what to create. And this is the signal the universe has been waiting for to begin reorganizing reality around you. If you feel this is the next step in your journey, and you're ready to deepen this transformation in practice, I've prepared something special for you. I've developed an exclusive ebook, 21 Days of Transformation with Carl Jung. In it, you'll find a practical guide for applying the principles of radical acceptance in your daily life, with exercises and reflections that will help you integrate these teachings consistently. For immediate access to this transformation guide, the link is in the first pinned comment down below. Start your 21-day journey today and see how your reality can reorganize itself around you. And remember, you didn't arrive here by accident. Your soul recognized in this message something you need to integrate now. And if you felt these words spoke directly to you, if you recognized your journey in what was shared, then perhaps it's time to make a real commitment to yourself. In the comments, write, I accept where I am to create where I'm going. This isn't just a phrase. It's a declaration of intent that marks a turning point in your relationship with life. It's the moment you stop fighting against what is and start flowing with what can become. If this content brought clarity to a transition moment you're experiencing, consider supporting this work by clicking the thanks button down below. Your contribution, however small, allows these messages to continue reaching souls who need to hear them. Every bit of support is received with deep gratitude and used to create even deeper and more transformative content. Thank you for staying until the end. For being one of those rare people willing to do the real inner work. For recognizing that true transformation happens from the inside out. We'll see you in the next video, where we'll continue exploring the mysteries of human consciousness and the secrets of a truly fulfilling life.